And I would just like to thank all of you for joining us and taking time out of your busy nights to join us to discuss annual paperwork. The Heart-to-Heart Leader Chats are done in partnership with our MAC, which is our Membership Advisory Committee. And I know we do have a MAC member on the line, Barb Henton, and I was just going to allow Barb the minute if you would like to introduce yourself.
Well, thank you very much. Certainly like to welcome everybody to this Heart-to-Heart Leader Chat, and also like to thank the staff. The Leader Chats have just been excellent and very timely for information that the volunteers need, so I really appreciate y'all being here this evening as well.
Great. Thank you so much, Barb, and thank you for all that you do, too, for with your work with the MAC and others. So again, annual paperwork is something that is due for every troop. And so it is a very important aspect of being a troop leader and working with the troop, and the troop leaders and others can work on them. And so we will be discussing all the various aspects, what makes up annual paperwork. And there will be time at the end of the presentation for questions. So here is our agenda for the evening. Welcome. Welcome again, everybody. And we'll talk about what is annual paperwork, the benefits of annual paperwork, and then the different parts that make it up, which is the annual troop finance report, the troop projection sheet, the volunteer year-end review. And if you do have questions during the presentation, you can either write them down or you can also type them into the chat box. And actually, Mariella is another behind the scenes that's helping moderate the GoToMeeting. So I'm going to put her on the spot to say hello, too.
Thank you, everybody. Yeah, this is I'm Mariela Rua, Adult Recruitment and Education Specialist out of the Kalamazoo region. And thanks, everybody, for joining us tonight. And I'll be monitoring the chat question box. So I'll be keeping Leslie up to speed with the questions coming up through the webinar. Thanks for joining.
Okay. So what is annual paperwork? Annual paperwork is, like I said, paperwork that is due for every troop and for every volunteer, the different, especially the volunteer year-end review, but especially the troop finance report and the troop projection sheet are due for every troop. So it is an expectation that we ask for our troops and our volunteers to submit their annual paperwork on time. And it is due by June 1st to either your area manager or the membership specialist for your area. And it is very important, and I'll talk a couple times throughout the call, that they are turned in on time, because we really do use the staff and the volunteers in the area, the membership specialists, the area managers, really use this information for checks and balances, and also to look at the membership for the area. So we also want just to make sure that you know that when we're asking for information or for you to take your time to do paperwork, that on our end we are using that information and making sure that it is beneficial and that we're using the information we're asking you to spend the time to do. The benefits of annual paperwork is it maintains contact with your area manager or the membership specialist, both for your areas. And it's a great tool to keep your troop finances on track and also to keep your troop finances transparent. The volunteer year-end review is an opportunity to voice concerns and suggestions and any feedback that you might have, or the area manager and the membership specialist as well. And also, turning your annual paperwork in on time is one of the requirements for Honor Troop. It does serve many different purposes, and it has benefits as well. And these are just a few of those. The annual troop finance report is composed of two parts. The finance report sheet, which is this one that I'm pointing to right here, and also the checkbook register sheet. And it's very important that both of these are turned in with the annual troop finance report, as well as a current bank statement. So it's crucial to make sure that both parts are complete. Both of those parts are required for it to be a full finance report. There's a wonderful tutorial video on our website that walks you through this document, which is great. It's just a few minutes, and it really shows you how the document works. And the financial report is really important because it allows for checks and balances of your troop and to ensure that troop funds are being used correctly. As we said, those funds really, they belong to the troop, and you as the leader, you are required to make sure that you're tracking that and to make sure that those funds are being tracked appropriately and also spent appropriately. And you may be asked to show receipts or might be asked about some of the items as well. And that is just part of the process on the side of the staff person or the area manager, whoever is reviewing your finance report, just into making sure that we're reviewing it and we're doing our role as well to make sure that everything looks like it's going clear, and maybe there's some spots that you have some questions on or things that you can or cannot spend money on. And so just a reminder for people that if we do ask for that, that's okay. That's just a part of the process. And staying up to date with your troop finances is really important. And especially since they are troop finances, it's important that every member of the troop and any of the parents could all need to be aware of what is available for the troop funds at any time. And so staying on top of your troop finance report allows for that. So we'll go to the website so I can show you where these items can be found. So if you go under volunteer and under forms, and there is actually a for troop finances section. And that's where you will find the troop financial report, and also right here you can watch the video, which again I really recommend. It is great and it shows you, walks you right through the report. But let's pull this up. And I will just go through this briefly, and again at the end I'll make sure I keep it open, and if anyone has specific questions I can go through it at that time. So this first page, or the page we're looking at right now, is the troop financial report. It's kind of like the cover sheet. And you'll see here at the bottom, the second tab is also a checkbook register. So when I pull up the checkbook register, this is where you would enter, just like you would on your own checkbook, your income and your expenses. And it's great because you can track it in. So say you spent $40, and you'll see here on the income expense type there is a drop-down box. And when you click that, we've already put in there for you most of the majority of the popular items that would be income or expense. But let's say you had an expense of registration for $40. So you put registration, $40, the rest for maybe for a girl and adult registration. So the great thing is when you go to your troop finance report, it carries over for you. So you see right here is that $40. Now the annual troop financial report is due by June 1st, but that's okay. That doesn't mean you have to stop earning or spending money at June 1st. What you simply do is whenever you turn in your financial report, you just start a new one. And you'll see where I am pointing at right here where it says funds on hand as of date of last report. That's where you would put that. So when you turn in your financial report and you still have $138 in your bank account, that's where you would put the $138, and it would, I'll show you, automatically start subtracting your expenses. So if you look over here, I have it highlighted, it shows what your expenses were from starting with your balance and it deducts for you. So it's great. So it's formulated for you to plug it in and for it to do a lot of that math for you. And again, the tutorial video is a great helpful tool to watch, and you can have it open and look at it anytime, maybe when you're doing this, if you don't remember exactly something that you're supposed to do. I really encourage everyone to make sure that they stay on top of their financial reports. Again, that is an expectation, and it is very important to do. And also don't forget that when you turn in this report, you turn in the 2 sheets, including the checkbook register and also a current bank statement. Another part of annual paperwork is the troop projection sheet. The troop projection sheet captures the plans for the members of the troop for the upcoming membership year. It includes information such as what grade level each girl in the troop will be for the next membership year, are the leader and co-leader able to continue, is the meeting place changing, and some other questions like that. This information allows an area to know where the gaps might be and what grade levels that they will need troop leaders for. For example, if a majority of the troop is staying at the current grade level and a couple girls in the troop will be bridging to the next grade level, will we need to find a troop for them? So this information is really beneficial, and it is used to do future planning for the area. So when all of these are received in an area through the area manager or the membership specialist, they all look at them together and see where potentially any of those gaps will be, and then that lets them know where they will need to recruit volunteers for, or see where those vacancies are, or what troops that some of the girls at the grade levels might need to move to. The volunteer year-end review. This is really an opportunity to volunteers to reflect back on their Girl Scout year thus far. It's intended to be a two-way conversation between the volunteer and whomever it is that's facilitating the year-end review. It could be the area manager or the membership specialist, and to address any concerns, suggestions, and what future plans might look like for that volunteer. Like I mentioned, the review happens between the volunteer and the area manager or the membership specialist. And we really ask to please be honest during this process, because our goal is to ensure that everyone is having a positive Girl Scout experience. And this is a great opportunity for us that you do have any concerns, well, either party has any concerns, for us to address and talk about them together and see how we can resolve them so that everyone can continue to have a positive experience. And it does note on there as well, if you're not comfortable writing some of your concerns or the feedback there, to please contact your membership specialist so that you guys can have a conversation about those in a comfortable format. And again, the volunteer year-end review and the troop projection sheet can be found on the website under volunteer and forms. And they are named here just like they are on the website, so that is where you would find them. So again, the main parts that make up, well, what does make up the annual paperwork is the troop financial report, which needs to be turned in with a checkbook register and the financial report sheet and a current bank statement, a troop projection sheet, and the volunteer year-end review. And all of this is due by June 1st to either your area manager or your membership specialist. And that is my contact information there. If you have any questions, we'll have an opportunity here to discuss those in a moment. But any questions afterwards, please feel free to contact me, but to also contact your area manager or your membership specialist if you have any questions about any aspect of the annual paperwork. So now is when we will open it for questions, or if you want me to pull up anything else and look at it. So you can either put that in the chat box and Mariella will let us know what they are, or Mariella will let us know when she unmutes people, and you can ask them that way as well.
So one of the questions we have here is, what paperwork do Juliet troops need to turn in?
Oh, that's a good question. We currently, as far as my knowledge, there isn't anything that's a specific form for Juliets to turn in. Since Juliets do not have bank accounts and their funds are worked here and they earned the credits, so to speak, through the product program sales, that's them here. So, but I would encourage them to, especially if the whoever's working with the Juliet, if they play a volunteer role and they would like to do the volunteer year-end review with the area manager or membership specialist, but I think that that's very good feedback and something that we could look into if having something specific, because as of right now there isn't anything specific for a Juliet to do. But I think that's a good point, and I'll make note, and that's something that we could look into for the future. But I would definitely encourage that Juliet and that parent or whoever works with her to keep, hopefully they're having regular communication with either the area manager or the membership specialist or both.
Great. Thank you, Leslie. Another question over here is, I'm a brand new Daisy leader. I'm not sure I understand exactly what is expected to be tracked expense-wise. Is the intent that we are just documenting every expense from throughout the year, or just a recap from our totals?
No, you would track all of your expenses throughout the year. So a lot of times when a new troop forms, maybe some troops, and I'm not sure how you're started, You start off with like troop dues, and so you ask the families to pay a small amount of funds or whatnot to the troop. It's as money to get you started. So even that, and I'll pull up the document again here, would be something that you would want to include as an income. So for example, if you have 5 girls in your troop and you have all of them for $10 to start, so you would start with $50 of income, and then you would put, and there is actually a box here for troop dues, and then in the description, if you wanted as a reminder, you could write down, you know, the families, you know, are from 5 girls. And then that shows what your the balance is. So you really do need to track everything that comes in and everything that goes out and keep those receipts. And I encourage at the times when volunteers do spend something maybe at the beginning out of pocket, that you do reimburse yourself once the troop receives funds, but that you would notate that as well in here and that you would keep the receipt, so that way you do have the proof if needed that, look, I did buy these funds out of pocket when we just started, and then as soon as the troop receives money, that you would reimburse yourself and just put it in there as an expense and explain it. So really, as soon as the troop starts, we encourage people to start the finance report. And I think if it's something, once you look at it and do the video and you have further questions, I would highly encourage you to contact either your area manager or membership specialist, and I know that they would be more than happy to sit down and meet with you and go through it in more detail if you need.
More questions keep coming up here. One of them is, do both troop leaders have to complete the volunteer year-end review form, or just one leader?
We ask that that's done per volunteer. So yes, so every person who has a volunteer role with gshom, we ask to fill that out. But now the troop projection sheet is just one per troop, but the volunteer year-end review would be for each person that holds a volunteer leadership position with the troop.
Okay, thanks. Here's another comment right here. We use troop funds to pay for a field trip, but then asked parents to reimburse us for the cost. Would you classify this as donations?
A donation, well, that's kind of just an in and an out, I would think. So it would be a donation if the family just wants to generally donate like $20 to the troop. But I think if the program costs $10 and the family's paying $10 for that program, it would just be kind of an even in and out. So you just put it as an income for a program fee. But you could put it in there as a drop down for the donation and just notate it. I think what's the most important thing is that it's just that it's on the financial report and tracked as an income and as an expense.
Okay. Next question here is, what is the difference between the annual troop finance report and the extended version?
Okay, great question. So the extended version has more lines for the checkbook register. So I'm scrolling down right now, and you see all the lines. The extended version has more lines, so just more of these rows, so it's longer. And I meant to say, too, that the finance report is available on the website as Excel, like what we're viewing right now, so you could do it on your computer, but it's also as an Adobe file, so you could print it off. And some people prefer to track with pen and paper, and that's fine as well, too. Either way is accessible. It does not have to be done on the computer. But the extended version just has more rows on the checkbook register.
Great, thank you.
This year we've just talked about really working on improving our annual paperwork. Especially the troop finance report, we try to improve as much as we can every year to make it as user-friendly as possible. I mean, there's going to be some work to track it, but trying to make it as easy as we can for the volunteers. But anytime if you have any suggestions or anything that when you're going through it, please don't hesitate to pass it on. We love to hear that feedback, but also want to align our paperwork a lot more with our plan of work that we're really getting more engaged in with which you should hopefully hear about from your area manager or your membership specialist. So that is something that we do want to have in the works to work on for this next coming year.
I'm sorry, could you scroll up and show the top of the checkbook register, please? That's one of the...
Yes.
Out here. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Another question here that came up is, does the content on this page pushed into the other page?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there is the balance, the expense of 40, and then we did put income of 50. But I forgot to put up here, remember when we go to this sheet, we had put that our funds on hand as of date of last report, you see here in row 11, we put $138. So when I go over here and put that in, it will start to carry over. And then when we go back to the front sheet, you can see, let me use my laser. See here, so there's the 40 expense that we had. Here's the $50 income that we had. And then you can see how it balances. So the Excel, the spreadsheet is formulated to do that math for you. Do we have any other questions?
Nope, none at this time, Leslie.
Okay, well, I'll put my contact information up there again. Again, just want to thank everybody for participating in the heart-to-heart, and it's something that we plan on continuing to do, so encourage you to look at the future topics, and please sign up for them. We are doing them. We always do one try to do one during the lunch hour between noon and 1, and then another one in the evening from 7 to 8 on the same topics to give volunteers choices.
Okay.
Well, if there aren't any other questions, again, I truly thank everybody for joining the Leader Chat. I hope that you gained some type of new insight or knowledge during the time. And just thank you for all that you do, and have a wonderful rest of your evening.